Hello everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft, and today I've got a 2-page layout for you, but really it's more like a 3-page layout because I'm going to do a traditional 12 by 12 double page layout, but I'm also adding in a 6 by 12 piece that's going to go in my close to my heart 6 by 12 photo flap that gets adhered to the outside of a 12 by 12 page protector so that as you're flipping through an album, and I'll definitely, I think I've showed you one before in one of my layout share videos, but as you're going through the album, you'll see one side of the 12 by 12, the second side of the 12 by 12, and then you lift the flap on that second side and you see the 6 by 12 flap. So I'm doing that because I have a lot of photos here. And these are photos from last summer's Hanson concert. Yes, I went to see Hanson and it was amazing. And I took pictures. And I had a lot, and I knew I wanted to get them all on a layout together. I wasn't going to separate them, and I certainly didn't want to get rid of any. So what I did was I grabbed my 6 by 12 photo flap, and then I also, which is the 6 by 12, and you'll see it's just, there's no, it's not like when you get a page protector and it has like a 4 by 4 pocket and a 4 by 6 pocket. There are no pockets. It's just a single 6 by 12 thing. So you're making, when you're doing a background that's just 6 by 12, okay? And you'll see when I get to there. Right now I'm working on the left-hand side of the double page layout right now. So I had been watching some process videos last month, and a lot of people were doing 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. And there was a double page sketch that I saw quite a few YouTubers use. And I thought it was going to be perfect because there were so many photos on a page. There were 6 photos on the first one and then 9 photos on the second side. The only problem is that you do have to cut the photos down to 2 by 2, which ended up not being that big of a deal. I set aside 3 photos because they seemed a little big and it seemed like I wasn't going to be able to cut them down to 2 by 2. So I said, those are going to be on the 6 by 12 photo flap. So that was an easy way for me to decide how to separate these things into, you know, the regular double page layout and the photo flap. So I grabbed my photos. These photos I cut down to 2 by 2 squares. You basically back them with a pattern paper, and then you back that again with a different pattern paper. So I had originally, I think for this sort of concert kit that I put together, if you watched my April haul video, I think I had the 2 pieces of pattern paper for my background, and then I think I had 4 other pieces of pattern paper. For this basic double page layout, I'm only using this orange paper and then a blue paper. And I'll add in one of the other pattern papers for the 6 by 12 photo flap. So there's also tags that go at the end of these paper strips. So I needed to make sure that I was leaving enough room for that. So I have a tag from the Coco Vanilla Studio You Rock sticker sheet. And I made sure that there was going to be space there so I knew like where to cut. And then I'm just backing it on that blue paper. I think that the orange paper is Amy Tangerine. The blue paper, I can't remember who that was. But the orangey paper is definitely Amy Tangerine because I noticed there were tigers on the back and that was definitely hers. So I'm just going to get that stuck down. And I decided to go with the diamond background. If you watched my April haul video, you know I was kind of like, ooh, what side of this pattern paper should I use? And I decided to do the diamonds just because it was a little bit brighter. And I didn't want the pattern papers that were backing these photos were, to me, kind of like a solid color. They have patterns, but there's no white. So they're just, they function more of like a solid to me. And I didn't want the solid colors to get lost in the solid color of the B-side to this diamond page. So that's why I ended up going with the diamonds. I also went through my pattern paper strip stash to find identical patterned paper strips because I want, according to the sketch, there's one on top and one on bottom on each side of this. So I wanted them to be identical. The one on top is from a Keep It Simple paper collection, and the one on the bottom also had like a diamond pattern. So I was like, ooh, that could be really good for this page. I can't remember who the manufacturer was, but that's why I chose that one for down at the bottom. And then I'm also using an Obed Marshall ephemera piece to go down at the end of this 3 photo strip. So you've got a three photo strip at the top and a 3 photo strip at the bottom. This is the first page. So there's 6 photos on this page. If you can cut your photos down to 2 by 2, this is a really easy layout to do. Or especially if you're only doing this side of the layout and you just need a single page, you could make your photos a bit bigger, 3 by 3. You could even probably do like 4 by 4. And then you wouldn't have as much white space to fill in if you think that the 2 by 2 is a little too small, or like I said, you can't cut your photos down to 2 by 2. You could just take this layout and just make the photos a little bit bigger, or this side of the layout, and make your photos and stuff a little bit bigger. I actually might try that with something else. That might actually be a really good idea. So stay tuned to the channel because I might do that as a process video just to show you how to convert this side into a single page with larger photos. So if you're a subscriber, you'll know when that video goes live. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so you don't miss out on other scrapbook process videos and inspiration. And if you are already a subscriber, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, I hope that this video is inspiring to you and that you want to give it a thumbs up like. And like I said, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more fun stuff. I think at the time of this recording, I'm like 10 away from 1,000, which is like amazing because you need at least 1,000 subscribers to start monetizing, whatever that really means. You also need a certain amount of like watch hours, which I'm really confused. Maybe somebody can explain it to me because I did get a notification that I've had 5,000 watch hours and you need like 4,000 in order to start monetizing. However, I think that's like lifetime hours and you need like 4,000 in a year. I think that's it because when I go to my analytics, it's like you only have 1,500 watch hours. And I'm like, what? So I think that's the difference. But anyway, if you are monetizing and you understand how it all works, maybe you can let me know in the comments how that works. All right, so I'm adding in my title with some of those little mini alpha stickers. I titled it Tulsa, Tokyo, and Philly because if you're a Hanson fan, you'll know that one of their tour videos was called Tulsa, Tokyo, and the Middle of Nowhere. So I did a play on that title because this concert was in Philadelphia, and I just decided to title it based on that tour video. I also added in a few more of the Cocoa Vanilla Studio stickers, most of the phrase stickers. I was actually really impressed with how many of those phrase stickers I was able to use on this layout because this Cocoa Vanilla sticker sheet is from a boy collection. And I thought, well, a lot of these things, are kind of generic and would be good for a concert, but the Hanson brothers are boys. And so there were actually a lot of those phrase stickers that I could use on this layout to talk about them, which I thought was really fun. I'm also adding in a few Obed Marshall ephemera pieces, working along the diagonal here. So another great thing, if you are just using this as a single page layout, is to work along that diagonal. You don't have to worry about what's going on the other side. You can start at the top, in the top left corner and work your way down to the bottom right corner. The one thing I will say about the Cocoa Vanilla Studio stickers is that they were not very sticky. The phrase stickers were very sticky, but the larger stickers like that tag and that arrow and some of the other pieces that you'll see me use on the second side, they were not very sticky. And so I do at one point break out an Elmer's glue stick and start sticking them down, which actually comes in quite handy because I do end up running out of my adhesive. So word to the wise, a couple things that you might always want to have on your desk when you're scrapbooking, backup adhesive, even if it is an Elmer's glue stick, because the last thing you want to do is have to stop when you're all like in the middle of a layout. You don't want to have to stop and be like, I can't do this anymore. I can't finish this. Elmer's glue stick works perfect. Mine is a washable glue stick, a washable school glue stick. So it goes on purple, but then it dries clear. So it doesn't really matter. You can't really see anything. I used to have like a backup tape runner. I don't have any refills for that. But yeah, always have something, and always have paper towels, tissues, and baby wipes on your desk. You don't know how often those come in handy, especially if you're doing mixed media stuff. Okay, so for the second side, I kind of already adhered a bunch of stuff down and cut down a bunch of photos because you get the idea. You don't need to see me do it all over again. But this side has 9 photos, so there are 3 rows of the 3 photos. The top and the bottom are very similar to what you saw on the opposite side. They each have a tag of some sort at the end of the row. The middle row just has the photos. So what I did was I kept the top and the bottom rows using that orange paper and blue paper, where the orange paper mats the photos and the blue paper mats the orange paper. But then I reversed it for the middle layout, for the middle row of photos, because I wanted that, that was a little bit different. It's not the same style. So I wanted that to kind of stand out a little bit more. And I probably could have bumped it up on some foam tape if I had really been thinking about it, to make it stand out even more. But I didn't, but that's something that you could consider if you're doing this part of the layout. And this part of the layout could also be, if you've got the right number of photos, this could also be a standalone page. You don't have to do a double page. You could just use this side of the layout and create a single page layout based on this. If you have the right photos, you again would probably have to cut them all down to 2 by 2. You might be able to fit 3 by 3 if you weren't doing the paper strips at the top or bottom. Maybe if you moved the paper strips up and down a little bit to give yourself some more room. But that's just something that you can play around with on your own time, and I hope that you do. And if you do play around and you create something, let me know where I can find it, because I'd love to see your take on this as well. So I'm doing, what am I doing? Adding down a couple more of those embellishments. So the Obed Marshall tag, the blue tag at the top with a camera, and then I layered a Cocoa Vanilla sticker that has a camera on it on the bottom. I'm just getting my adhesive down here to layer or line everything up and get that all stuck down so I can add more of the embellishments. So on the other side, you saw that I did a bunch of phrase stickers, and I'm going to do the same kind of thing with the phrase stickers on this side as well. I think the original sketch, you could do whatever kind of embellishments that you have. The original sketch had like some star type things going on. And you can find that in the Christie's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches Facebook group, which I will try to remember to link below. Lots of great inspiration in there. She doesn't do a series every month, but all of the past series are kept in the group. So you can always go back, and anytime you're in need of inspiration, you can find a sketch. And then there are a lot of YouTubers. A lot of people share their sketches in the group or share their layouts in the group. And there are also a lot of YouTubers who participate and do each day of the 30 Days of Sketches challenges. So you can find them on YouTube as well. So I've got a tag down at the bottom one. Again, mirroring kind of what we saw on the first page. I don't remember where I put my journaling. I probably didn't journal yet, but that tag on this side could be a really good spot to do the journaling, I think. The top and the bottom rows of the 3 photos are even, and then the middle one is kind of staggered out away from that. And then like the other side, I'm going to work the opposite diagonal, putting a big ephemera piece at the top right and working down to the bottom left. Just keeping it very similar, kind of like a mirror image of what I did on the first side. So that's that little flower one. I'm going to bump up on some foam dots because I also had one on the other side that was popped up on foam dots. I think I did the bottom one on the other side with the foam dots. So I'm just going to go the opposite route and do the top one with the foam dots and add in one of those little phrase stickers. I'm curious to know if you guys do double page layouts more often or single page layouts more often. I think I tend to do single page layouts more often. I used to do double pages more often, but it's definitely shifted, probably because with the advent of the digital camera, I'm not always printing out every single photo that I take. I can delete photos and I can easily see which photos I should get rid of, which photos I want to keep. Especially with the advent of taking photos with your phone. That's really where I take most of my photos. And it took me a long time to switch from a digital camera to my phone because the digital cameras used to be better quality, but now really you can get the same quality with your phone. And it's just so much easier to upload things to, a photo printing app or wherever right from your phone because it's already all there. You don't have to take an SD card out and pop it into your computer. Do a lot of computers still have SD card readers? I think sometimes you have to get a converter, like a USB converter. I still have a laptop that does have an SD card reader, but I know a lot of this technology, like the CD players, is just becoming obsolete. And you can't even get computers with CD players anymore. You can't even get a car with a CD player anymore. I'm still a little bitter about that because I have a lot of mixed CDs that I used to like to listen to. And I don't have the time to go through all my mixes and make like Spotify playlists. So I'm just a little annoyed, right? Okay, so like I did on the first page, I did some splatters. And I think this is Faded Denim, if that's the right color, from Tim Holtz. I just wanted there to be a little bit of extra because there is so much white on the backgrounds. I just thought a little bit of splatters would look really nice. And I chose that color to go along with some of the blues in the papers and the stickers. Now on the left-hand side, I decided to add some of these Illustrated Faith blue puffy. They're actually crosses, and I've used them before, but I'm flipping them to make them look like X's. And so because I used them on the left-hand side, I said I got to go back and put some on the right-hand side. So I just like that they give the page a little bit more dimension. They help me create some embellishment clusters, groups of threes, and it's just another fun element to bring along that diagonal line on both sides of the page. So those sides are done, and now I'm working on the 6x12. So I took one of the other pattern papers that I had purchased as part of this kit, and I cut it down to 6x12. Really easy, you're just cutting the paper in half. I didn't have enough of the orange and blue paper that I had matted the photos with to do something similar on this 6x12 flap. So I'm taking the scraps and I'm cutting those scraps into 2x2 squares so that I can kind of bring that same feel from the double page layout onto this 6x12 photo flap, even though I'm not going to be having 2x2 photos. And actually, I will end up have 2x2 photos, but you'll see that as it all comes along. So this was one of the photos that was not going to be I was not going to be able to cut down because it's big and there's a big sign. So when you walk into this concert venue, this is the sign that you see. It says live. And so I cut that down to 4x4 from the 4x6. And I thought, let me try to line up some of these 2x2 squares. And I wanted to get them lined up before I adhered them because I needed to see how many more I might need. And I have another 4x6 photo that I want to cut down to 4x4. And this photo is of everybody, the whole band, taking their bows at the end of the night. So I didn't want to cut that, and I didn't want to cut that down because I wanted to keep all those people together. So that's going to be 4x4 at the bottom on the diagonal. And then the third photo I had, I said, you know what? Everybody's in the photo, but they're all spread out in their, stations: guitar, drums, piano. So I ended up cutting each Hanson brother out into 2x2 squares. And so those, the 2x2 photos are finding their way onto the 6x12 photo flap here. And some of them are going to be kind of going off the page just for space reasons, because I don't want anything, I want there to look like there's space in between so you can still see that pattern paper peeking through. I don't want everything to be like stuck together. And then I am going to go through and outline the edges with my black ink just to kind of make things pop a little bit against that orange background, because it is, to me, that's like a solid color. So I want things to look a little bit dimensional, a little bit more dynamic. And you're going to see the whole page as I start working here. I'm not going to make you watch. I'm not going to make you watch me adhere everything, because again, that's the really terrible adhesive that I just absolutely despise and will never buy again. But you can see now I have to cut off all those edges, the things that are coming off. Everything is adhered down, and I just need to add some embellishments. And you can see that side got some of the excess splatters on it. So definitely be careful if you're doing splattering or mixed media and then you have another page to do, because you don't want to get any of those splatters like on the right side of the page. If it's on the back side, okay, but just be careful. That stuff has to dry. So now I'm just going through and looking for more embellishments. I kind of want to create put down as many embellishments as I can to make this side of the page, or this 6x12 photo flap, look interesting. And something else I could do, because the other side is, I don't have any photos on the back side, and that side is going to be what shows as it's folded over in my page. What I might do actually is take some big alphas or something and put like Hanson going on the back of that, so that it's still part of this layout. That would be a good idea, I think. I kind of like that. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Anytime you're doing pocket pages or these smaller type of pages, you always have to think about like, well, what's coming next? What's going on the back? Am I going to do another layout for a different thing? Do I need to have it be part of the same photo grouping, photo layout? So yeah, sometimes you have to be strategic with your scrapbooking. Now, here's where I'm having issues getting those Cocoa Vanilla Studio things stuck down. So I am using the glue stick. But it's totally fine. Yeah, and I'm just trying to figure out like really good placement for all these things. Sticking down, trying to get at least like one element somewhere around each of the photos, maybe like on each of the squares. This is always the fun part when you kind of are just like getting creative and going wild and trying to figure out like best embellishment placement, because I love embellishments. I love them so much. I think they're so great. So there's that big heart. I could even do a little bit of journaling on that heart. I popped that up on some foam circles, I should say. The foam circles I got from close to my heart. All the rest of the items from this kit, if you missed the haul video, I got from Paper Issues. It was very easy to order. Shipping is super fast. And if you're in the Paper Issues Friends and Fans Facebook group, sometimes there are really good sales, like 30 to 50% off. But they're very limited time, so you don't want to miss out. So definitely join that group if you're not part of that Facebook group already. I'll try to remember to link that one below as well. And let me know if you're in the Philly area, if you've ever been to a concert at this place. I think it was called the Fillmore, if that's familiar. It's kind of in a weird location, like a very weird location. But my husband and I went together, and yes, my husband went to a Hanson concert. This is actually the second Hanson concert that he has been to with me, believe it or not. And I guess he enjoyed it. He said he didn't really know all the songs. I knew all the songs because I'm a big Hanson fan. But I've been a Hanson fan since I was a kid. And you might have seen some other layouts that I created based on, I did one back in February, based on a bunch of a Hanson notebook that I had. So definitely go back and check my February layout share video for that one. I've also done, I know I did one for my Book of Me, for a Scrapbook challenge of my friends and I when we didn't get tickets to see Hanson. And I think I titled it like Hanson Hoes Forever, because that's what we used to call ourselves, Hanson Hoes. All right. No shame in that. Who were you guys really obsessed with? What bands or boy bands or whatever were you obsessed with when you were kids? I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. So now I'm just going to show you how it fits into the 6x12 flap. And I do have to cut off a little bit because it's a little hard to get in, which means that it's probably a little too tall, but it doesn't really matter. There's the close-ups. You can see it in dimensions, and then the close-ups of both sides of the double page layout. I hope that this was inspiring for you and that you enjoyed watching it. And I hope that you come back again for more scrapbook process videos. There's going to be another one coming up next Tuesday. So definitely stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys next time. Happy scrapping.